Happy New Year, Overwatch fans. It's Frito here for your Overwatch. Blizzard's kicking off 2023 with a patch buffing up a handful of characters and adding a brand new game mode. First up, the Battle for Olympus free-for-all. Battle for the throne of Olympus as 7 powerful gods and monsters from Greek mythology, each with a unique divine power that kicks in when they use their ultimate ability. The most valiant contenders in the Battle for Olympus will have the chance to earn a limited time voice line and player titles to brag about their accomplishments for all of eternity. At the end of the event, the hero whose powers were used to secure the most eliminations across all matches will be crowned the new ruler of Olympus. The Battle for Olympus begins today, January 5th, and ends on the 19th. The free-for-all mode sort of sounds like one of the wacky experimental cards they used to do, but more of a dedicated mode for it. Keeping in theme, there are wacky reworks to the ultimates of the heroes involved, all of which are much more souped up than their normal versions, so you can feel like a god in this mode. The career profile gets an update. Game reports for completed matches in the history tab will stay persistent across sessions and reset between patches rather than every session. The 2023 season of competitive Capture the Flag begins on January 10th and can be found in the competitive play menu, and the competitive play loading screen has been updated. Now to the hero updates. Junkerqueen. Adrenaline Rush, her passive, now heals for the remaining wound damage when an enemy dies with wounds in them or on them. Carnage gets a massive buff. The cooldown is now reduced by 2 seconds for each enemy it impacts. The cooldown of Carnage was only 8 seconds anyway, so I think you're going to reliably be able to hit it on 2 targets a lot of the time, but as long as you don't whiff it, and because it's such a huge arcing melee attack, should you ever miss it anyway, that means the cooldown could be somewhere between 6 and 0 seconds instead of 8. I say 0 because if you hit it on 4 targets, you get it back immediately. Now, are you surviving as Junkerqueen if you're fighting 4 targets at once? Well, all 4 of them will have wounds now, and even if one of them is eliminated, you're going to persist your wounds healing as normal instead of it ending as they get eliminated. I felt the wounds mechanic has been pretty underwhelming, to be honest, but since they reined back Doomfist's shields, it seems kind of reasonable compared to that now. Keep in mind, Carnage does 90 impact damage and 40 wound damage over 3 seconds. And depending on how much you cut down the cooldown now, it's reasonable to get 2 in a row, either quickly or even possibly instantly. And this is really also her major source of wounds. While her knife does add 15 over 3 seconds, the 40 wound damage over 3 seconds is much more significant. Keep in mind, she earns 125% of that in health back, so it's actually 50 health over 3 seconds on the Carnage. Junkerqueen gets a compensation change on Jaggedblade though, where the thrown impact damage has been reduced from 80 to 50, but it's getting exchanged for 30 wound damage. So that used to be 15, and that stacks with the wounds caused by quick melee or returning Jaggedblade hits. So while you're losing some of the burst on the blade, she's exchanging it for more lifesteal, which if you think about it, between Carnage and her primary attack, did she really lack burst damage herself, or was she just too easy to burst down? Notice as well, they're not buffing the shout at all because they're afraid of what that had caused in the past. I'm not so sure it caused a poor rank meta, seeing as we didn't even have ranked mode back when they nerfed that. But regardless, they're trying to give her more self-survivability. Does the extra lifesteal opportunities outweigh the hitbox size increase they did a patch or 2 ago? Well, only time will tell. But it's live in the game now, so good luck. Zarya received 2 buffs to hold on to her energy longer. Energy degeneration reduced from 2.2 to only 2 per second, and the delay before energy degeneration begins after gaining energy increased from 1 to 2 seconds. While in a few instances, this very specific change might mean that you'll reach some important damage breakpoints in the heat of gaining high energy and maintain it to do the damage to win the fights in front of you. But in general, the energy mechanic is most severe or punishing when you're able to carry your energy from one team fight to the next. These numbers are subtle, but the devs must feel her performance was below the mark they'd like after dropping her from the top spot spot in Season 1. Next changes to Brigitte, where the health on her barrier shield has been increased from 250 to 300, which is quite a significant amount of shield, I gotta say. But it's not the buff I'd like to see. As it was, I don't think Brig had a problem maintaining her shield, so much as not getting nuked in her face whenever she tried to flail. I instead would have liked this 50 health to go into her main health, which of course is a lot stronger, but I think because she is a immobile support with very limited range, no matter what, unless her stats are insane, I feel she's going to be situational to hold a specific spot on the map. Like if you've got a good piece of cover or your team's full holding high ground, I'm optimistic on what Brig can do. It's just that Overwatch 2 is more often about being fluid and mobile across multiple parts of the map, especially when you think of like the push game mode versus the more static assault game mode. So anytime you're transitioning the fights from an area Brig's more defensible to one she's weaker, I just think you should be on Lucio because they often have the same playstyle. Just one can shoot from distance and has far superior mobility. Remember though, the shield does rapidly regenerate once you put it down. So an overall higher capacity of it will give you more to min-max. So you are definitely significantly more tanky this way. You just won't want to be leaving cover anytime soon anyway, because doing so without your shield, Brig's square hitbox and small health pool is making her suffer out there. Last changes to Moira, where Biotic Orb now, when it deals damage, will restore a small amount of biotic energy. Wow, this is quite a change, okay? At the time of recording, I'm unsure if it will be a certain amount if it's hitting anything, or if it'll be more if it's against multiple targets, because Biotic Orb obviously can damage multiple. But either way, this gives Moira more flexibility to use her most oppressive ability. We may meme about DPS Moiras, but Damage Orb is the strongest thing she's got. And now she'll be able to heal you a bit more while pressuring the enemy's backline, if she ever decides to heal you at all. Guys, it's everything for today's patch notes video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave the video with a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified directly to your cell phone so you don't miss our upcoming videos. I promise I won't be sick in all of them. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.